Well, happy Monday. And we are jumping back into Paul's argument. We're in the middle of his argument in Romans 2, verses 1 to 11, where he's making the point that God is impartial. I'm starting out with the context because it's so important that we understand what he's saying in each of these verses within the overall context of the argument he's making. If we come to verse 10, let's take a look at that. Paul is saying that glory, honor, and peace to everyone who does what is good, to the Jew first and also to the Greek. This is in contrast to the previous verse where he's saying tribulation and distress for every soul, Jew and Greek. Glory, honor, and peace to every soul, Jew and Greek. He's making this point that God is impartial, which he's going to state explicitly in verse 11. God is impartial. Both Jews and Greeks that Paul is addressing in that church are all under the judgment of God. This is the condition of all mankind. That's what Paul is saying here. That all of mankind, that without exception, every man, woman, and child, no matter how old or how young, is under God's judgment. And he's saying that if it were possible, by doing good, to have glory, to do good, if it were possible to do that, then glory, honor, and peace would be to everyone who does what is good. Everyone, both Jew and Greek. Again, no matter how young or old, man or woman, slave or free, Paul would say, that everyone is going to get glory, honor, and peace if it were possible at all to do good, both Jews and Greeks. That's the point he's making here, that all people are held accountable. Stick with Paul in his argument here. Don't manipulate verses. Don't take verses out of context, thinking that he's teaching a works-based righteousness, thinking that he is demanding sinless perfection among people in order to have glory, honor, and peace. Christ was our sinless perfection, brothers and sisters, again, for both Jew and Greek. One standard, one Savior. So stick with Paul. Stick with him as he goes through these first 3 chapters of Romans. Listen to what he's saying. He's saying that sin has come into the world, chapter 1, verses 18 through the end of the chapter. That sin has come into the world and it's spread and it's grown. We come to chapter 2. All people are held accountable to sin. Jews and Greeks alike, all judged on the same standard by an impartial God. And then when we go into chapter 3, we're going to see all mankind, both Jew and Greek, have all fallen short. So that's the point that Paul's making, and that's how this fits into Paul's overall argument. He's saying, if it were possible, glory, honor, and peace to everyone who does what is good. All means all. You and I are included in this little word all here, this Jew and Greek. It means happily, Jesus was condemned in our place. Happy for us because we were standing under judgment. We were standing liable to God's wrath. We were standing on the edge of the pit of hell, eternal conscious torment. But we were saved. And I'm praying that these verses, as we go through that, help us to fully appreciate what we've been saved from and really the wonder of our salvation by grace through faith. As I'll bring out later, if this is true for the Jew, if this is true for the people that God has designated for himself in the earth, if they are liable to God, how much more are we liable, having only a vague understanding of who God was? I pray, brothers and sisters, that you grow in grace and knowledge, that you grow in the appreciation of the salvation that you've received from our gracious God. God bless you and have a great week as you head into the week. Meditate on these things. God bless you.